Maya Wiley from MSNBC says democracy requires that we teach uncomfortable truth that America was, quote, built on racism. Well, I find that interesting because, in theory, I get it. I get what you're trying to do. But in practice, what exactly is going on behind the door, behind the walls of these academic institutions? Well, the individuals that are trying to BTFO racism, the, quote, anti-racists, the social justice activist teachers who are trying to rid the world of racism are doing nothing but teaching overt racism. Rutgers professor, white people are committed to being villains. We gotta take these MFers out.
I think that white people are committed to being villains in the aggregate, right? The real sort of issue here, and I've heard people sort of say it, is one, I think that white people viscerally fear. It's not that white people don't know, right, what they have done. They know. They fear that there is no other way to be human but the way in which they are human, which is to, so, like you talk to white people and whenever you really want to have a reckoning about it, they say stuff like, it's just human nature. If y'all had all of this power, you would have done the same thing, right? The thing I want to say to you is we got to take these motherfuckers out.
Now, I'm curious because this individual says, white people, it's not like they don't know what they have done. What is it exactly that I have done? My family comes from abject poverty. I'm white, of course.
It's not that white people don't know.
But my grandmother crossed the Atlantic Ocean at 17 years old by herself with $5 in her pocket. What exactly has my family done? And to pretend as if it ended there, my family faced discrimination for generations in the West. My ancestors were also slaughtered during the Armenian genocide. Just let me show you guys this little sign right over here. My ancestry is 50% Greek. This sign right over here is from the 1910s. Turks slaughter Christian Greeks. Not satisfied with torture of Armenians, Turks extend cruelty to Greeks. Thousands of Greeks deported from the coast to interior of Asia Minor. This idea that human suffering has always been at the hands of white people, and that those who are oppressed are always of some sort of other minority group, is just so farcical. It's so ridiculous. And then to take the evil history that's part of literally every country, every continent, every empire that ever lived, and to try to somehow tack it on to white people in the modern day is so beyond despicable. It's vengeful, it's wrong, it's hateful. White people know what they've done. What have I done? When I was a young child, I had nothing. My father lost his father at 23 years old and raised his younger brother, who was 10 years younger than him, as a father. He took the failing family restaurant business, took the whole thing under his shoulder, then took the entire bankruptcy on his back to bail out his uncles. My dad started from bankruptcy. We had literally nothing. He worked his tail off, and we have finally worked ourselves to some level of comfort in today's day and age. We've done everything by the book. We've never discriminated against anyone. We started from absolute immigrant, humble beginnings, and we are somehow supposed to believe that we are guilty? It's crazy, and it frankly gets me frustrated. What this woman is saying is flat out racism, and it goes to the point that I was making when it comes to education. Non-successful people trying to teach you how to be successful. Racist people, ironically, trying to teach you how to become anti-racist. It's nuts. And they've created this situation that's so obvious to everyone that it's become almost a game. Identity and race has become a currency, a social currency. We're supposed to be moving into a time where people are equals, but we're literally going backwards because of leftist academics. We are headed towards a time where race, identity, gender, you name it, is more pronounced and more important than ever. It's crazy. Survey reveals white students are lying about their race to get into college and receive financial aid.
There were plenty of white, privileged oppressors that took advantage of the system to continue to abuse and oppress African Americans who are great contributors of society.
When did that happen and when?
All throughout history. As soon as white people started going to Africa and pulling people against their will onto slave ships.
That didn't happen. That's a made-up lie. The blacks were sold to the Arabs by other blacks, elitist black, rich blacks, kings, and then those Arabs took them to other parts of the world and sold them. The white man didn't just go to Africa to get some Negroes. That was made up.